We're back with another question and answer segment from the book The Predatory Female, written by Lawrence Shannon. Today we're going to be going over how women do not love in relationships. This is the Experienced Optimist, and I'm going to be leaving Amazon link in the description box like I always do. If you can buy the author's book on Amazon to support him, I suggest you do so. You can also find it online for free if you search for a little bit. But I like to give kudos to the author just so he can get some support. This is a great book. So today, the first question is, I lived with a girl for over a year, but when I refused to marry her, she broke off our affair and moved out. Within 2 weeks, she was married to another man. I saw her recently and she behaved like a stranger, despite, and get this guys, despite having professed undying love only 3 months previously. How do you explain such radical changes? And the answer, there are no changes. She never cared about you in the first place, but you have been blind to it by failing to grasp the nature of the predatory female. You loved her, but she didn't love you. She is incapable of loving anyone, including her new husband. A predatory female never loves anyone but herself. Using sex to lure men into loving her, she can only pretend at loving them back. This is a natural, involuntary behavior for the predatory female. She feeds them sex, fusses over them, makes them feel loved, but it's only an act. It's the chameleon syndrome in full bloom. She uses their love or infatuation to manipulate and control, stinging them like a wasp on the spider's back until they are incapable of rational thought where she is concerned. The predatory female never becomes emotionally involved in the same way a male does. Her emotional involvement, and get this, is strictly contingent upon her degree of success in bringing the male crashing to earth. It is not a conscious deceit, but an unconscious one. When, as in your case, she fails to trap him permanently, she could easily leave because her involvement was only temporal. This is one of the toughest axioms for men to accept. Predatory females flatly don't care. The person deserving the sympathy is the poor unfortunate who married her. And this is true. All right, guys. Yeah, never feel sorry for a guy that's in a relationship. You know, boyfriend, husband. Because a lot of times, those same guys you think they're doing so well, behind the scenes, they're screwed. He has volunteered to become the host body for this parasite, talking about the predatory female, and serves as another living proof that slavery is the natural state of man. So another question, I just can't believe that women don't really love men, at least in the same way men love them. The predatory female herself is sometimes fooled in this regard. She can be victimized by her own predatory nature, especially if she's young. Now, what this means is, I've seen this a lot. A lot of women will fool themselves into thinking they love somebody. It's basically just charm. Whenever I say a woman loves somebody, I always say that it's charm, because it's a shallow type of affection, is what it is. All right, getting back to it. But the experienced ones know better. They're counting on your inability to understand and accept it. And this is key here, guys. A lot of guys can't accept that the female doesn't love them. And that was me for a long time. Why? Because I had watched so many Disney movies, so many romantic comedies, and I thought it was true. I thought if you just show a woman affection, love, and caring, you would get all that emotional affection back. That the woman would care for you. That she would accept you the way you were. Now that I'm older, of course I know better. So, they're counting on your inability to understand or accept it. They know your male ego will side with them, just like my male ego used to side with the women when I was younger. If your girlfriend sincerely believes she loves you, be sympathetic. Be understanding. She doesn't know herself yet, but don't let her immaturity bring havoc into your life. Now, the next couple of questions and answers you have to pay close attention to, because this will save you a lot of heartache in the long run. How might one enjoy dating various attractive females without incurring some of the nightmares you've described? Keep in mind the basic rule that he who cares least wins. Do not allow yourself to become emotionally attached to your dates and girlfriends, or some very unhappy days are in store for you. You may allow them to enjoy your body, your mind, and your money, but always deny them your soul. This is key. It's not that you can't care for women. It's not that you can't treat women nice. It's not that you can't have good times with women. But you have to always remain logical, down to earth, and understand that if you give too much of yourself, you will be used and abused. Many men have gone from the uncaring alpha male that got a lot of female attention because he basically did not care, to the groveling beta simp, in which the woman runs all over him, loses respect for him, and treats him like a slave. Okay. Doesn't the male share the blame for demise through females? And get this is very important. He shares most of the blame. After all, he is the one with two heads. And he lets his little head tell the big head what to do. That's why we as men, as MGTOW, we must always remain level-headed, understand what we want out of life and what we want out of the women in our life, and hold true to those standards. Cheaper to rent. Given the pitfalls of associating with predatory females, perhaps prostitution should be taken more seriously. Prostitutes may be the only honest women insofar as their sex lives are concerned, because they'll generally tell you the price up front. Remember the basic rule. If it flies, floats, or fucks, it's cheaper to rent. You know where that saying came from? There was a guy who created the men's magazine, Maxim magazine. I believe he created Blender, and I believe he created FHM. And the guy that created those magazines, he wrote a book like How to Get Rich, or something like that. It was something like How to Get Rich, How to Make a Lot of Money. And he didn't believe in marriage. And he coined the term, if it floats, flies, or fucks, rent it. Because I believe as a rich man, he knew the troubles of having girlfriends and how expensive that can become chasing women. So he coined that phrase. And the funny thing about that phrase is when I went overseas, I met a guy one time, a rich businessman actually, and he told me the exact same thing. He actually made me repeat the phrase. He said, if it floats, flies, or fucks, rent it. He told me to never get married. And when I asked him why his marriage failed, because He had gotten married, and the woman tried to take him to the cleaners. He told me something that changed my life. He told me, even good love goes bad. So even if you have good love in the beginning, most often it's going to go bad at the end. But anyway, that's a little off topic. That was the video for today. Just understanding that women and love, in my opinion, they charm, but they don't love. They show affection, but they're not necessarily affectionate. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, hit the notification button, subscribe, support other MGTOW channels, and I'll talk to you later, guys.